Hey everyone, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon X with only one Pikachu is a fun solo run. Let's follow that up with one that you guys picked on Patreon. Today's the day that we figure out would I be able to beat Pokemon Emerald with a team created by a random number generator. Alright, you already know the drill. There's 386 Pokemon that existed by the time Emerald came out, although only about 202 can be found in-game without trading, so I'm likely going to have to re-roll a few numbers if they're impossible to catch. So the first 6 numbers we rolled was 19, 215, 373, 204, 185, and 59. So that's Rattata, Sneasel, Salamence, Pineco, Sudowoodo, and Croconaw. What an incredibly Gen 2 heavy team. Unfortunately, Salamence is literally the only one of those Pokemon that isn't either in Postgame or not in the game at all. So I guess I'm rolling 5 new numbers. So I rolled 121, 256, that feels weirdly appropriate, 51, 348, and the max number of 386. I already see the issue here. We got Starmie, Kabuskin, Dugtrio, Armaldo, and Deoxys. Well, I can tell you right now that Deoxys isn't happening, and Dugtrio just isn't in Hoenn. The other ones are though, so we just need 2 more numbers. Alright, we got 73 and 263. That's Tentacruel and Zigzagoon, meaning our team that we need to get before we can win this run is Salamence, Starmie, Kabuskin, Armaldo, Tentacruel, and Zigzagoon. Well, it's lopsided for sure, but there's a lot of really strong Pokemon on this team. Zigzagoon isn't very strong, and Kabuskin is just okay, but we have 4 really great Pokemon on this team. They probably aren't going to do very well against a Water-type Pokemon champion, but that's going to be what makes this fun. Like always, I'm writing the script as I go through the challenge, so this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if I can win or not. I'm sure that I can both win the run and beat the post-game Steven Stone fight. This is all about just having fun and seeing how well the team performs. Let's explain the rules. In combat, I can only use Pokemon picked by the random number generator. I'll need other Pokemon to use HMs, but I won't be allowed to use any of those Pokemon in battle. No glitches or exploits, no items in battle, only Pokeballs, held items, and items outside of combat are allowed. Also, if you enjoy this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let's do this. Hey, no need for the Pokemon randomizer this time, since we need that Torchic at the start if we're going to get a Combuskin. Ours is serious nature for neutral stat gains, should be fine. Torchic is an equally good attacker and special attacker, so neutral is totally fine with me. Right away, I obviously just went north a couple routes, beat the rival to get Pokeballs, and then start catching Zigzagoons. I always do this anyway because they're awesome for giving HM. I always catch one anyway because it's great for giving HMs, and sometimes I catch extra because the pickup ability can be pretty nice. But this time, it's because we need one on our team. I caught a few, and I figured I'd keep the one that's best for the team, and that ended up being this one. The nature is docile, and it's just slightly higher stats than the rest of them in most categories, so I figured the IVs might be pretty good. I'm sure it's the member of our team that's going to see the least combat. It's probably only going to get used for an occasional sand attack, but we'll get some use out of it. This feels like one of those Pokemon that's the dud on one of my team runs that I end up pulling out in the Pokemon Champion fight and it does something really useful. I feel like that happens pretty often. The Zigzagoon is totally going to be that Pokemon. Anyway, I'm going to go level up our Torchic until we have a fighting move and then go to the Rock Gym. But real quick before the gym, now's a great time to talk about this video's sponsor, Factor Meals. Factor Meals is a service where you can get awesome meals delivered right to your door. These are fresh, never frozen, chef-prepared meals that were made fresh that week. You can pick from several meal plans to cater to your personal tastes and needs. Chef's Choice, Vegan, Keto, Protein Plus, and Calorie Smart. I always go with Protein Plus personally. It's really filling and it makes it easy to reach my protein goals. Plus, they recently doubled their menu size and added all kinds of new seafood and protein options. What you get in the box is 6 to 18 chef-prepared packaged meals that have never been frozen. How many you get is up to you when you sign up. Preparing your meal is about as fast as it can be. Each package has both microwave and oven instructions on them, with it taking about 2 to 3 minutes in the microwave and about 10 to 15 in the oven. It literally could not be more convenient. No prep time, no cleanup, just great food. The other week I was trying buffalo grilled chicken with ranch potato wedges, cauliflower, and green beans. I'm big into cauliflower and green beans, and everybody on the planet likes chicken, so it was an obvious choice for me. I like that the buffalo sauce is on the side too, because it means I get to choose how much I use. My girlfriend had the smoky barbecue chicken breast with mashed potatoes, creamed corn, and green bean casserole, and I have it on good authority from her that it was delicious. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code MDBFB50 to get 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code MDBFB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. MDBFB50 at factor75.com. Thanks to Factor Meals for sponsoring this video. Go show them some love at the link at the top of the video description. Alright, so after Torchic evolved into Kabuskin, we very easily just swept the entire rock gym. It feels good to have an easy time with this gym, when in probably the vast majority of Emerald runs, I would have to grind like crazy here. And man, I hate grinding for this gym. Oh, it's miserable. The Pokemon in the area are not very fun to have to grind against. Anyway, with that done, I go straight to Dewford, and I get the Old Rod and fish up some Tentacool. I caught a few, and this looks like the most promising one. Nature is hasty, so more speed, less defense. I think that's gonna be fine. If anything, the speed might save us in some fights. Now, I bet the fighting gym is gonna be pretty easy. We do have Peck. So I take a crack at it. Right away, we take out Machop easily while hardly getting hurt. And second is Medicham, who just keeps going for Focus Punch while we're attacking, so it never hurts us. But somehow, the Makahita at the end was a really serious problem. Him using Bulk Up and a berry ended up making him survive longer, and even when I thought that I would win anyway, he crits a Vital Throw to leave us with 1 health and then finished us off on the next round. So I sent in my other Pokemon, but they're still pretty weak and couldn't really win the fight. I bet that I could have won if he didn't crit me, though. I'm gonna try again. Are you kidding me? So I try the fight again, and I even get pretty lucky with him using Bulk Up on turns where I think that he could have made me faint. And yet I still lose after leaving him with a Sliver again. Okay, I think I need to get, like, very slightly stronger before I can win this. So I got a few levels, and I tried several more times. I still kept losing because of Bulk Up, but I was leaving him with a Sliver, so I knew that a win was possible. Then 3 tries in, he just doesn't use Bulk Up. He keeps going for Vital Throw instead, and we ended up winning pretty easily. I feel like I don't actually know much about why the AI decides to do what it does sometimes. At least in Gen 3. Like, I know that, like, your rival in Fire Red can pick some really random stuff, just, like, I think it's got a different seed or something every time you go in the fight. When it comes to Emerald, though, I got no idea. Alright, with that done, we have a lot of trainers to fight for sure. We need to catch up our Zigzagoon a little bit. The next 2 major fights are going to be awful until we do. We have our rival, who's going to have Marsh Stomp, so water and ground moves. Both are good against Kabuskin, and the Mudshots are definitely going to be able to beat Tentacool as well. So that means Zigzagoon is going to have to be able to solo the most dangerous member of our team, and Zigzagoon's base stats are awful. Then after that, we have that always hard electric gym, and I'm sure that Tentacool isn't going to help us there either. We're going to need Zigzagoon to level up enough that we can take out Watson's first 2 Pokemon, so that I don't risk Kabuskin getting paralyzed early. Then I gotta switch to Kabuskin to double kick the Magneton. I don't think it's going to be horrible, but I am pretty confident I'm going to have to do some wild Pokemon grinding after I beat all the trainers in the area. Also, real quick, I actually started using my Facebook fan page again for the first time in legit 6 years. I'll have a link to it in the description if you want to follow it. Thanks. Well, the rival fight was weird. I sent Zigzagoon in against Marsh Stomp, and for some reason he just used Bide over and over and over. I mean, it was at the point where I used 6 Sand Attacks and 6 Growls, so I just switched to weak Headbutts. Eventually Bide hurts us since we're headbutting, but then he finished us off with a Water Gun and it hit on the first try. So that was weird. Again, Gen 3 AI thing, did he know he was gonna hit if he switched to Water Gun ahead of time? Or was that just a fluke? I don't know. What is even the chance of Water Gun hitting after 6 Sand Attacks? Like less than 20%? Anyway, it's fine. We really easily had Kabuskin finish him off with Double Kick. That was the only dangerous member of her team, so we won, but I still don't think this Electric Gym is gonna be easy at all. Alright, so first was Voltorb, and I kinda hoped that Zigzagoon could take it out fast, but we did very little damage and then he self-destructed. That means I had to use Kabuskin against Electrike, but thankfully, he just used Howl, so we took him out in 2 Embers. Magneton was a one-shot with Double Kick, but last was Magnetric, and this had me worried. He was wasting time with Howl, so I used Bulk Up and a Double Kick, but we ended up paralyzing ourselves off Static, then we missed a turn while he hit us with Shockwave. We ended up taking him out, but that easily could have gone the other way. Alright, we have 2 big firefights coming up, so I think it's time that we finally level up Tentacool. It's Maxie in the fire gym. Which, now that I say it out loud, sounds like some kind of like late 80s, early 90s cartoon. It's got a real gem in the holograms feel to it. Anyway, I'm not too worried about Maxie, but I do think the fire gym could be rough until Tentacool has a good water move and quite a few more levels. Considering we don't get a water move until Bubble Beam at 25 and it evolves at 30, I think I may as well just level it until it evolves and then use it to probably pretty easily win at the fire gym. First is Maxie, who ended up actually being pretty easy with just Combusken. We had to switch after Mighty Enna to get rid of the attack debuff, but overall, easy fight. I really need to just level Tentacool a bit for now, because I don't see the fire gym going well until we have our Tentacruel. So I level the Tentacool to 30, so he's a Tentacruel now, and then easily sweep the fire gym. Feels pretty good. That means that we need to get on over to that normal gym. But on our way there, I took the Claw Fossil. I knew that if I didn't say what I took, you'd all ask. Actually, now that I think about it, everyone ask anyway. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. And then I revived the Claw Fossil for Anorith. Because, you know, we need that to evolve into Armaldo for this run. Ours has a gentle nature for less defense and more special defense. I have no idea if that's going to help us at all, but I mean the stats look fine. It's very slow, but everything else looks fine. I think this is a usable one. Let's go see how that normal gym goes. Alright, this fight was kind of crazy. The first 3 Pokemon were all really easy for Combusken to take out with Double Kick. But last is slacking, and even with our strategy of trying not to do damage on turns where he could use Counter, we still kept taking crazy damage. By all means, we should have lost this fight very badly, but through amazing confusion luck with Supersonic and some much needed poison damage, we actually eventually ended up winning. It's very obvious that my team is underleveled though, so I'm gonna have to catch them up before the next gym for sure. Alright, so we have 2 fights between us and our second from last Pokemon. We have our rival in the Flying Gym. This rival fight is normally really easy, but the Flying Gym could be a bit tough. I think that what I'll do is I'm gonna visit the abandoned ship to get Ice Beam and a Water Stone. The Ice Beam TM is to give to Tentacruel to help us in the Flying Gym, and the Water Stone is gonna be for when we get our Staryu. I originally wanted to save the Ice Beam TM for Starmie, since it's a better special attacker than Tentacruel, but I remembered I can just buy another one later at the game corner, so I may as well just put this one on Tentacruel. Now, will one Tentacruel be enough to beat the gym? I'm skeptical, since I know Combusken isn't going to be very much help, but I still think we stand a chance. So you know how the last required rival fight is always really easy? Well, it is again, although this time we did take huge damage off a Mud Shot. We still won pretty easily, but we did almost have a Pokemon faint. Okay, now it's the Flying Gym, and this took several tries and a little bit of leveling. It started amazing with Swablu, Altaria, and Skarmory, all doing absolutely no damage to us. The Tropius right after was actually pretty easy with Combusken too. The only Pokemon on our team that really put up a fight was Pelipper, weirdly enough, but it's just because she has a lot of Hyper Potions. We were never in any real danger, but only a few levels earlier, and I was having serious issues with Altaria. So it's an easy win, but only because we got a few levels higher than on my first try. Alright, and last before we can get the Super Rod is Maxie, although I did lose on the first try due to crazy bad confusion luck. We won really easily on the second try just by using Surf and Ice Beam. No problems here. Alright, now that we're in Lily Cove, I go ahead and grab the Super Rod and catch Staryu. Now, I wanted to evolve it right away because hitting level 33 while already being a Starmie would let us get Confuseray, but we couldn't actually get the Water Stone earlier. I forgot that I need Dive first, so we're gonna have to wait a gym. Our nature is Calm for more special defense and less attack. I slapped Surf on it right away, so it's got a good move, and I'm gonna try and level it up pretty fast. We have the Psychic Gym coming up, and they're pretty weak to water moves, so making sure that Tentacruel and Starmie are ready is gonna be pretty important, especially because Tentacruel's weak to Psychic, so gotta hit hard early. Well, I got to the Psychic Gym and gave it a try before grinding just to see how it would go, but we lost pretty badly. Tentacruel is only a slightly higher level than them, and most of our team is way too underleveled to be helpful here. We couldn't take out Claydol fast enough, and his Earthquakes are brutal for our Poison-type Tentacruel. I think it might not be too bad once I get the rest of the team to the high level 30s. Man, this is a rough fight. I had several tries where we still just lost really early from Earthquake, But at least on this one we took out Claydol for the first time. We still really didn't make it all that far though. I guess the good news is that I'm pretty confident that I'll just need a few more levels on Tentacruel and Staryu, and that would make the early part of the fight much easier. Alright, so I kept leveling and trying over and over and over just to keep losing. All the way at level 48, we still kept losing, but we also kept dropping Claydol down to a sliver on the first round. After several tries, we got one where it actually did go down on the first round, and then we very easily beat the rest of the team with Surf. Finally a win. We're in the home stretch now. We have Archie in the water gym between us and our last Pokemon. Archie is typically easy, and I figure that he still will be, but I don't really know about the water gym. We're both such water-heavy teams that I'm not sure that we're going to be hitting that hard. I think I'm going to have to grab the TM for Thunderbolt, because oddly enough, Starmie can learn it. It's weird, right? I remember that from my Pokemon Stadium Let's Play back in the day. That alone might not be enough to win, but I guess that we'll find out pretty soon. I'm looking forward to when we do win, though, because then we get our last Pokemon and fight Wally. First, though, we have Archie. Total pushover, though. Now that I could finally get the Water Stone to evolve our Staryu into Starmie, we demolished his team. I figured that he might be able to do that in the Water Gym as well thanks to Thunderbolt. Alright, Water Gym time, and it starts amazing with us sweeping our entire way to Kingdra, his final Pokemon. I tried sending in Zigzagoon first to use Sand Attack, but we ended up getting frozen solid off an Ice Beam and then fainting right after. So I sent in Starmie and started using Thunderbolt. He was using Double Team early, so I was worried, but at least his Ice Beams hardly hurt us. He used a Hyper Potion after 2 hits, so we had to keep doing damage, but we ended up landing hits and he wasn't hurting us that much, so we got a pretty simple win. Alright, now that we can use Waterfall outside of battle, I go ahead and catch our last Pokemon, Bagon. Now, it's not very impressive right now, but once it evolves, it will be. That isn't until level 50 though, so I guess I'm gonna have to level it up a lot. We're not allowed to actually go into the Elite Four until we have our full team, and the random number generator said Salamence, not Bagon. For the sake of making this run harder while also saving time, I think rare candies are the best way to catch him up. Rare candy means less effort values, and that means he's not going to be quite so overpowered. Our nature is brave, by the way, so extra attack, very nice. Let's go bulldoze Wally and then get to the Elite Four. First is Wally. We obviously one-shot Altaria with Ice Beam right away. Gardevoir lets off a Future Sight before going down to 2 Surfs, and Delcatty straight up gets one-shot. As Roselia came out, our Combuskin got hit by Future Sight and lost more health than I was expecting to Razor Leaf. Our first Ember did very little damage, but the second one did way more thanks to us losing enough health that Blaze kicked in, so we got the knockout. I stayed in as Magneton came out, but we got outsped and taken out by Thunderbolt, so I had to send in Shelgon. We hardly heard it and fainted pretty fast. But then Starmie was able to finish it off with Surf. It wasn't super smooth, but it still went well. Now that we're at the Elite Four, let's take a look at our team. Well, the moveset could use some more tweaks, but the team is still made up of solid Pokemon. Our team is really lopsided and weird, but the type coverage on our attacks is actually great. I think Whiscash is the only Pokemon that we run into in the Pokemon Champion fight that we don't have a super effective move for. In fact, I think the only thing we aren't super effective against the entire Elite Four is Phoebe's team. We just don't have any Ghost or Dark moves. We might just overpower them in that fight, though. It's probably not that bad. Starmie and Tentacruel will be pretty good. I actually feel good about this one. Make your final guesses on if we can win this or not. Let's do this. First is Dark Trainer Sydney. This was crazy easy though, literally a no damage sweep. Only 2 of his Pokemon couldn't get one shot, and neither one did any damage, so we breezed through on the first try. Second is Ghost Trainer Phoebe. This one took a few tries to figure out right at the start because her team is so weird, but on this try the first Dusclops goes great as we take out half of her health, then she takes out the other half with Curse. I wasn't thinking and stayed into damage Bayonet, so we ended up fainting, and I had to finish it with Starmie. As the next Bayonet came out, we hit hard with Surf, and she used Grudge when I was expecting a Shadow Ball. So I finished it with Thunderbolt, knowing that it doesn't really matter if I lose my power points on Thunderbolt, I don't need that for the rest of this fight. As the next Dusclops came out, I did a bit of damage, but her Shadow Balls were doing a ton. We took her down to red health before we fainted. Then we sent in Salamence to finish it off. Didn't work great though, because I forgot that Dusclops has Ice Beam, so we ended up fainting when we were so close to taking her out. Our Maldo had to actually finish that one. Not until she used her 50th Fuller Store, though. Last is Sableye, so I had Kabuskin start using Ember. It wasn't doing much, and she was using Double Team. But quickly, we burned her, so she was taking damage over time. I started using Dig to get extra damage out of the burn, and it worked great. We missed the first dig, but by the time of the second one, we won the fight. It wasn't easy, though. Third is Ice Trainer Glacia. Right away we used Thunderbolt with Starmie to take out Celio pretty quick. She healed, but she only used Hail, so we didn't take all that much damage. Next is Glalie, so I had Armaldo go in with Brick Break. In retrospect, I should have used Ancient Power since it's physical in this game, but we still just hardly got the knockout while in red health. Wall Rain is next, so I sent Starmie back into Thunderbolt, but we got paralyzed off a Body Slam early in the fight. We still took it out, but we're paralyzed and on low health. As the other Glalie came out, I switched to Kabuskin to start using Sky Uppercut for great damage. Naturally, she healed, then we started missing our uppercuts, and she was doing crazy damage to us thanks to a crit. We got so unlucky to not only get crit, but to miss that move twice in a row. We fainted fast and had to send in Tentacruel to finish it off with a few hits of Surf. Last is Celio, and we had no good answer, so I used Acid until we fainted, then we had Starmie finish it off. I forgot it has Natural Cure, so it lost its paralysis when it switched out. It's such a nice ability in team runs. Fourth is Dragon Trainer Drake. This couldn't have been easier though. One-shot sweep with Ice Beam, no problem at all. Finally, the Pokemon Champion Wallace. Man, this fight is crazy. It starts normal with Wailord making it rain and going down in 2 Thunderbolts. Second is Ludicolo though, and we don't have a great answer for it. So I just had Tentacruel keep using Acid as he kept using Double Team to dodge us. Eventually, we landed some hits and he ended up seeding us, but we have Liquid Ooze as an ability, so Leech Seed was actually hurting him. He eventually withdrew and switched to Whiscash, so I had to switch to Salamence to avoid the ground move and overpower him with Fly. Then he sent out his Tentacruel, so I stayed in. I ended up getting taken out by Ice Beam when I suddenly remembered that Starmie has Psychic and I should probably be using that. It took him out really fast. Then we sent our Tentacruel back in as Ludicolo came out, and of course, I used Acid until he fainted. After that is Water Onix, who obviously goes down in 1 Thunderbolt, but last is Melodic. Man, what do I even say about this horrible fight? Look at the screen. I threw my entire team at Melodic, and it just kept healing and healing and healing. I knew it might be bad, so I played it safe by having Zigzagoon use Sand Attack first, and we managed to get 4 of them in because of incredible missing luck. Quickly, I sent out Starmie, and we ran into a problem. We ran out of Thunderbolts early, and he kept healing with Recover. As soon as we were out of Thunderbolts, we could hardly do any damage to him. Every once in a while, he would get us with Toxic, so I would have to switch to activate Natural Cure and remove the poison just for the other Pokemon to usually faint, and then we switch back. It quickly got to a point where he couldn't do very much to us, but we could do almost nothing to him. He just kept healing and healing and healing, and our team just doesn't have any good moves to fight a tanky water type like this. This fight lasted so long that he completely ran out of power points and was using Struggle to fight me. In the end, do you know how long this fight took? With fast text speed and battle animations turned off, this clocked in at an insane 15.5 minutes. It was 5 minutes to get to Melodic, and then 10.5 minutes to beat it. This is easily the longest individual fight I have had in a Pokemon challenge in years. I am pretty sure that I have had Shuckle fights in rock gyms that rival this in terms of playtime. This was a first try at Wallace, but it was the longest fight ever. With that victory, we get in the Hall of Fame and we win the run, but you know that it's not over yet. Gen 3 has a post-game fight with Steven Stone. I actually feel pretty good about this one. Most of his team isn't weak to water, but some of his team is, and he doesn't have that much of an answer for us. I think his Aggron has Thunder or Solar Beam or something like that, but he isn't any good with it, and Credilli just isn't all that dangerous as long as we're prepared. On paper, it kind of looks like an easy fight. Obviously, I'm going to need to get close to his team and levels before we stand a chance, so I think I'm going to get up to level 70. It's lower than his team, but it's kinda close. I'm looking forward to seeing how it really goes though. I made sure to get the leftovers from the cruise ship so we're a little bit more prepared. Now let's go see how this turns out. Alright, so first up it's Steven Escarmory, but we crit Thunderbolt on turn 1 to one-shot it, so we have a great start already. Next is Aggron, but we stayed in and one-shot it with Surf. Third is Credilli, so I sent in Armaldo to use Brick Break. We got confused right away though and ended up hitting ourselves twice in a row and took huge damage off Ancient Power. Hit one Brick Break, then we got taken out. We may have started the fight lucky, but there was nothing lucky about that matchup. Out to Gabuskin, and I laid in a few Sky Uppercuts for the knockout, but it took a while thanks to all of his healing. As Metagross came out, I sent in Salamence to use Earthquake. Thankfully, the damage it did was fantastic. The problem is, he did amazing damage too, and his berry kept him from being a 2-shot, so we fainted. Then as we sent in Starmie, he used a full restore. We just kept using Surf, and we were able to take him out, but we were in red health by the end. Claydol's next, so I stayed in knowing Surf is our best bet. We fainted in the process, but we did a ton of damage, and sent in Tentacruel to finish it off. He full restored, but we were faster and 2-shot him. Last is his Armaldo, but he's weak to water, so we pretty easily took him out with Surf. Not only was that not that bad, but this fight was about 3 times faster than the Wallace battle. Man, I gotta say, I really love these RNG runs. It's super fun getting to use evolved Pokemon every once in a while, and I like that there's still like proper challenge in having to use such a weird and lopsided team. I really hope you guys like that run. The next Pokemon challenge will be up next week on Saturday like usual with Pokemon Fire Red with 1 Clamperl. It's gonna be a really weird one, I think. As always, I'm looking at your suggestions in the comments in the challenge request section of my Discord channel and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. Outro time. I would love to go forever on the outro. You've heard that 1,000 times, haven't you? But I just had to spend an hour this morning going to war with my internet service provider. Really wasn't going to war. Every person I talked to along the process was very nice. I had to talk to like 6 people. But no, everyone was really nice and everything. It was just my internet bill came in and it was like $33 higher than it normally is. And I saw like I looked at the breakdown, it's literally just I'm paying more. And like, what's that all about? Because like I know $33 doesn't sound like that big of a deal. Also, because this is Canadian money, and so it's worth less than probably whatever country you're from. Not that the buying power is the same, but whatever, economics. What matters is that's like a $400 a year difference, and that's not in the company budget. So I went through their online support thing, and then they had to verify me, and then they told me that what happened was 2 years ago when I signed up for this internet, there was like a discount that I got. It was like a $30 discount or something. It's like a 25% discount, because normally I pay $90 after tax for my internet every month, and now I'm paying $123. Actually, I think it was $124 because it's like 97 cents. Anyway, what matters is I got on the phone with them. They transferred me a million times until I got to the loyalty program department or whatever. And they cut you a deal, basically, to try and get you to stay, which is also what the other people at the company were saying. They're like, we'll transfer you to loyalty. They'll cut you a deal. Sweet. Which... I mean, everybody knows that, right? In Canada, I'm sure it's the same way in the States. It's probably the same way in a lot of countries, that they overcharge you for internet, and that it's very easy to get on the phone with them and for them to cut you a deal. They tried to get me to sign up to some TV and phone service, and, oh, we can upgrade your internet, and you'll have 2 gigabit download instead of 1 gigabit, and I'm over here thinking, like, brother, I never max out my download anyway. Like, I'm upload mostly. My job's weird. I care way more about upload, so she's trying to sell me on this other one. I'm like, is the upload the same, though? Because to be honest, I never max out my download anyway. I don't need better than what I have. And she's like, yeah, the upload's the same. And I'm like, yeah, I don't need the phone plan. I don't need TV. I don't need more download or anything. Like, I got unlimited data anyway. And she is like, well, you could stay in your current plan and you could pay $89. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. Because in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, that's exactly what I was paying right before this anyway. It was like $89. And so I just got a 2-year deal on the $89 thing again, which is the exact same I was on before the conversation started. So So I ended up having to pay one internet bill at the higher rate, but like that's not the end of the world. It's fine. Anyway, that ate up a whole bunch of my time today, and that put me behind. And this is an extra complicated edit today because of some intro stuff and, you know, the sponsorship stuff and everything. So I am in a time crunch today. Thank you everybody so much for the $50 supporter shoutout tier. That was a weird way to intro that, wasn't it? But thank you so much, Jacob Busby, Javid Kusara, Grayson Fitz, Tara Louise, Dark Soul, Young Smokey VP, Gabriel Thornton, Hernandez Punchdick, and the -1 for your continued support in the $50 supporter shoutout tier over on Patreon and on YouTube. It is always very much appreciated because you help me pay for when my internet bill randomly goes up and then I have to go play phone tag for an hour of my work day to try and get it back down. I gotta work an extra hour today because of that. Thank you, internet service providers of Canada. And thank you everybody so much for watching. And until next time, have a nice day.